let's have a look at the fragrances, guys. They want us to look at the fragrances. Let's have a look. 5 fragrances from 100% natural origin ingredients, inspired by the city of Venice and its history of cross-cultural encounter. Each evocative perfume weaves together essences from different corners of the globe, captivating the senses and transporting the imagination. That's a lot of words for a fragrance. That's a lot of words. It's also interesting because I remember we talked about these fragrances in a former live. I talked about it with Finn, just from a market perspective, the kind of market that Bottega is going for, because we were speculating about the Row and their fragrance line and how they can expand there with the investment, considering who invested into the brand. So that was really interesting. But Bottega they make fragrances, by the way. People are acting like this is Bottega's first foray into Bottega. Like, for example, I just put this on the screen now, but Bottega Pour Homme. This is a fragrance I think about from Bottega. This was launched in 2013. And this is a brand that if you go on a lot of discounter sites for fragrances, you can find it for like really good prices. So they make a lot of fragrances. This is not like their first fragrance line. This is more like a luxe fragrance line. And I think the market has dictated a lot of brands to have these luxe fragrance lines because niche fragrance as a category is so big now. Whether you think of MFK or Le Labo or all these fragrance lines that are embedded into the culture of fashion now, Frederic Malle, these are, you know, things that a lot of people that buy luxury fashion, a lot of these luxury fashion customers also buy these kind of fragrances. So a lot of these luxury brands are starting to understand that we should all have luxury fragrances. Of course, other brands have done it before, whether it's Chanel with Les Exclusives that they've had for a while, or Dior with their private line. Saint Laurent also has a private fragrance line. So it's just Bottega kind of delving into that. They're almost very late to the party when it comes to a luxe fragrance line. So yeah, I'm yet to smell any of them. I would love to eventually go in store in London and have a sniff and report back to you on what I think. But it's neither here nor there because fragrances are so subjective. Fragrances are more a thing where it's more personal to you. So just because I like or dislike a fragrance, it's actually quite meaningless on whether you should like it or not, because I like citrus fragrances. There are people that like oudi fragrances. It really depends. Alex says the only argument to buy them is like an art piece to display. Do you know what's funny? That I find the design of the bottles so odd. The shape is so weird, but it's interesting though. So I can imagine you would want to have these bottles because it's so interesting. I feel like if you put this on like your desk in an office or something, people wouldn't even know it's a fragrance. People would just think it's some sort of art piece, some sort of Bottega sculpture, especially because the cap is wooden. So you would just think the top of it is just wood and that's actually just a sculpture. Millie says, nah, it looks grippable. Bottega, Valentino, Fendi, and Balmain launched private collections this year. Exactly. So like I said, it's more a case of a lot of luxury brands have realized that there is a massive market of really expensive private line fragrances, and we should be involved because there's so much money to be made as a category. The Nectar Man says, Celine perfume launch when Eddie arrived seemed the most successful new launch in a long time. I totally agree. That's 100% facts. I don't know if, especially at that price point, I don't know if any other brand has had in recent times, let's say over the past 5 years, has had as good as a successful fragrance launch as Eddie Simon Celine fragrances. I don't think so. So that's definitely a good point. The Nectar Man says, well, that's what you're paying for. The refills are a lot cheaper. Yeah, I mean, that's the case with every brand, isn't it? Even Dries Van Noten, for example, when you look at the Dries Van Noten bottles, let me see if I can put that on the screen actually, because I love the design of the Dries Van Noten fragrance bottles. I can imagine, I love the design so much that I might even buy a Dries Van Noten fragrance I don't like just because I like the design of the bottle. But their refills are also significantly less expensive than when you buy it with the bottle for that reason. You're kind of paying for the expensive bottle design. Obviously, the Bottega design looks even more expensive than the Dries Van Noten, but that was another example of something that came to mind. So this is an example with this like metal cap that I'd really love. But let's see, it's £260 for a 100ml bottle. And for a 200ml refill, it's £290. So it's £30 more for double the amount of fragrance. So when you buy the 100ml bottle, you're really paying for packaging and the bottle mainly. And then when you buy the refill, it's basically half price. Yeah, the Dries Van Noten fragrances are so pretty. I love the way the bottles look. So chic. So damn chic. Joe says, I remember the marketing for that Celine fragrance line was everywhere. Totally agree. Better smell like teen spirits. Word to Nirvana. I love the Dries bottle, but that doesn't shock me since he has such a strong eye. His home and his store. Facts. Dries aesthetically is just... I just love everything about Dries aesthetically. Like everything branding wise is on point. These are some more different bottle designs depending on what fragrance you get. But yeah, they're all really cool. Fleur de Mal is my favorite fragrance in the line, but I prefer some of the other bottles to the Fleur de Mal bottle. The Fleur de Mal bottle is still nice. Just color wise, I prefer some of the others. But yeah, I love these Dries fragrances. Completely love them. Can't wait when I'm in Antwerp in December, and these will kick the breath out of my lungs and money out of my wallet. That's funny. I'm actually going into Antwerp in December as well. So great minds think alike. I'm going to Antwerp because they have the MoMU, one of my favorite fashion museums in Antwerp. They have a new exhibition. So I always love to go to see the exhibitions. And Antwerp is literally around the corner for me because I live in the UK. It's just one train away. So, well, 2 trains away, actually, because I take a train to Brussels and then I have to change to go to Antwerp. But it's very close, is my point. So, yeah, hopefully you have loads of fun in Antwerp. This YouTube channel runs on your support. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You'll gain access to exclusive content that includes everything from my Patreon podcast, where I give a behind-the-scenes insight into the fashion industry, as well as a fashion book club, where I review my favorite fashion books. You can also check out my fashion ebook, which highlights the best fashion journalists to follow, definitions of common fashion terminology, and how to determine what a good source of fashion information is. The links to everything are in the description below.